Hey everyone, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Got a video for you today on building a song around a loop. And I'll show you what I mean in a second, but really this is a recording kind of songwriting video for all you songwriters out there, but it's also a mixing video in the sense that it relates to arranging. And good mixing is good arranging. I always say that, and that's the way I think when I'm mixing. And I did a song this summer that I wrote that I thought would be a perfect example to show you what you can do and sort of how to think maybe as a songwriter and a producer when you're working with something very simple. Because this song is a very simple song, but it becomes very big, but it's built off of one simple loop. So when I was writing, I just was plugging into my 11 rack actually, and was playing with a weird setting, and I got this sound when I played 4 chords. All right. And so I said, I want to build a song around that. That's all I got. And I want that to be this reoccurring hook. And it's just this thing that I recorded once and I looped it forever, 4 or 5 minutes. And I said, how can I build a song around this? And so I just want to show you a real world example of what a song can look like built off of that. Okay. And then you can sort of take from this and maybe it'll give you some ideas. I don't want you to copy me. I'm not saying that every great song should be a simple 8-bar loop over and over again without variation. I like a lot of variation in my music. If you look at my record collection, you'll see some bizarre stuff, but I also like simplicity, and I also just want to show you how you can do a lot with very little. So I had that loop that I recorded on the guitar, and then I basically built a song out of it. So I created a vocal melody and layered that right at the beginning. I'm wondering, I'm stumbling around, can't find my way home. And then I need to bring in the rest of the band, so drums and bass, real simple. Right? So now it's really simple to build a beat and some bottom end out of that loop. The loop is still the focus. It's still only 3 instruments, a drum kit, 1 bass guitar, and that same loop, and they're all mono up the middle. It was even a mono drum overhead, so very mono track. And that's very intentional also for the verses. Then all I did in the choruses was to modify the loop just slightly to just be 3 chords. So it's now instead of an 8-bar progression, it's a 4-bar progression. It's the same 3 chords, only I simplify and I just add some overdriven guitars and I change the vocal melody. So really the chorus is the same chords, just add a new melody to the loop and you've got a whole new part, and then I add guitars on the left and the right to go from mono to stereo. Right? So it's the same loop underneath it. I just take away the 4th chord and let it ring out. So you're just layering over that same progression. So you've gone from simple to big, all with the same loop. Now the only challenge is we pulled that trick from the verse to the chorus of adding the guitars, putting them on the left and the right, and adding the major overdriven sound. So we have to now keep the song interesting. So that this is part of the challenge of being a producer and a songwriter. And this is where I think is fun. So verse 3, we go back to the simplified loop again, but this time I add a little synth part that's somewhat stereo. Here we go. I dream of green pastures and by still waters I will lay. Right, a little bit of variation. You still have the loop. It's still based around the loop, and now we add another texture that keeps the listener interested. Move on to the second chorus, same overdriven guitars, But now we can add more textures, and this is a great way to build songs out of a loop is you progressively add new textures. We're going to add strings, a string patch over those overdriven guitars, and then we're going to add extra vocals, harmonies, and an octave. Right? Just this is obvious. There's been no harmonies in the song, so we just added a double on the chorus, harmonies doubled, an octave down, which thickens it up, string texture, real nice. Everything else is the same. So really this song is building, right? Continuing to build. And now we're going to go into a solo part. So I'm going to keep the exact same loop. What can I do to create a bridge, right? Instead of changing the chord structure, which I would normally do in a bridge, I just added a sort of guitar melody on top of it and really added two melodies to just take it up a notch and get rid of the vocals. So again, another way to keep the song interesting, but still built around a loop. Here we go. Right, so two like a main lead riff and then a counter melody, and those are just real simple to just something you would sing. They're singable, but I just played them on guitar, and they could be played on any instrument. All built around the same loop. And then one of the oldest tricks in the book is to cut everything out and bring it back in. I'm wondering, I'm stumbling around, can't find my way home. Yes, I know I'm already. Classic, right? Classic move. Come down really small, strip down, quiet, intimate, and then bust it right back in. Either hit them hard at once, or in this case, have a long, drawn-out drum fill. Again, we're using simple producing, songwriting, arranging ideas to take a simple loop and make it into an interesting song. So we're in the final chorus, which now, again, has to be even bigger than before, and it's hard to top that because we've already added the strings, we've already added the harmonies, we've already added the guitars. So to make it interesting, we keep this now counter melody that was being played in the solo section, and then halfway through we add extra vocals and sort of a counter singable melody here. Right, so it's just, what can we do with the vocals to keep interest, to keep variety? Well, you can invent another melody that could have worked as the melody for the chorus, and that kind of counter thing, heaven has come down, that kind of works, but I already have a melody, so I just layer them on top of each other, and all we're doing is keeping the same loop guitar, which is here in blue, right here, keeping that interesting. That is the exact same thing over and over and over again through the entire song. If we flatten out our tracks here, you kind of take a look at that guitar is central, and the vocal in purple down here is kind of central. And then when the drums come in, you can sort of see it just kind of build down. Add the guitars, add the harmonies, add the lead guitars, add the extra guitars. So at the end, you've got all these tracks, which is still not very many tracks, but compared to how in the intro and verse we only had a handful, That's all we've done, is to create an interesting arrangement, interesting song out of one simple loop. So what did we learn today? Not to just do what I did, or not that this was anything special. These are really every trick you've ever seen in any modern rock or pop tune. But it's that you can do a lot with very little. You can take something very simple like a guitar loop, a beat, a vocal loop, a string loop, something that you really enjoy that you could just get into if it was looped over and over again. But instead of just looping it out, adding a vocal melody over it and a couple of other parts and calling that a song, try to build something out of it. What else can you write, record, arrange, whatever, mix in, play, sample, that would create a story, would create a little miniature movie, something where you take the viewer, the listener, from beginning to end, and it's engaging from start to finish. There's a lot you can do, and I want to kind of open you guys' minds to think about that when you're recording songs. And don't think you have to have all these crazy parts, or that the song has to be very complex. But what you want is a compelling and engaging arrangement. And that can happen with any song, even a 4 to 8 bar loop like we did in this song here. So I hope that helps, guys, gives you some ideas. Again, this is Graham from therecordingrevolution.com. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It takes one click. It's right there at the top of the screen. It would mean the world to me, and it'll help you out too. When a new video comes out, you'll know instantly when it's out, so you can check it out and not miss a thing. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you guys soon.